He felt like something grabbed his hand and forced him to write a reply. And the reply was, do you really want to know? The book I'm reading right now called Conversations with God. Probably one of the top 5 most important books I've read in my life. It is a channel work. A guy was homeless in Oregon. His name is Neil Donald Walsh. And since then, I've gotten to know Neil. But Neil had this habit where every time lousy situations happened to him, he would just write an angry letter to that person. So he had gone through 6 failed marriages. Every time he would think about what one of his ex-wives had done to him, angry letter. He had broken his neck in a car accident. He was homeless at one point, living in a tent. He would write an angry letter to the government, an angry letter to his ex-wives, and one day he decided he had had enough. He wrote an angry letter to God. Why did you do this to me? Why is my life so miserable? He would take these letters, he would crunch them up and toss them away. He would never send them. So no one actually saw what he wrote. So one day he wrote that angry letter to God, but before he could put his pen down, he felt like something grabbed his hand and forced him to write a reply. And the reply was, do you really want to know? And then his hand was released and he said, yes, I really want to know. Why is my life so crappy? And something grabbed his hand and an answer came. And he continued doing that. And he ended up, after I think it was 3 or 4 to 6 months, a whole notepad of a conversation with God. And somewhere in the conversation, God shared many things. Shared the meaning of life, why we are here, spiritual advice, the truth behind religion, ideas on how to manifest, how to form your own reality, how every thought we create is literally manifesting our reality. And somewhere there, God said, and someday this will be a book. You need to share these words. I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to everyone who is going to experience these words. So Neil goes to different publishers. 20 reject him. One guy accepts him because this guy actually reads this conversation from this crazy man who claims he's talking to God. They turned it into a book called Conversations with God, and it stays in the New York Times for 5 years. He writes a 2nd book and a 3rd book and a 4th book. And after he wrote the 4th book, at that point, him and I were connected. I reached out to him and we produced a program with him called Awaken the Species, which is on the behaviors of HEBs, highly evolved beings. That sits on Mindvalley.